All right, so today we're going to try to solve one of like the internet's biggest mysteries.
Ooh,
How
yeah,
much money do YouTubers actually make?
right.
Everyone wants to know, right?
Yeah, it's something that everyone speculates about, but it's definitely more complicated than those like clickbait headlines would make you think.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Like, why are YouTubers so like secretive about their earnings? Is it like a secret society with like a
Yeah.
vault of gold bars hidden somewhere?
Maybe not a vault of gold, but there are definitely some layers to it.
Okay.
Let's start with the most basic human element, like privacy.
Oh.
Would you want like your bank statements broadcast to millions of people?
Oh God, no. I like barely even check my own bank balance half the time.
Exactly. And for YouTubers, the risks are even greater. Sharing those big income numbers online, it makes them targets for everything. Hackers to like, let's just say overly generous family members.
Oh, yeah, totally. I can see it now. Like, hey, because I saw you hit 1 million subscribers. Think you could spare a small loan, just
Yeah.
enough to buy a yacht, like a
Yeah.
small yacht.
And that's really just the tip of the iceberg. Think about the pressure to donate to charity. Like once your income's public knowledge, so then it becomes this constant balance of like personal generosity and the expectations of like, everyone
Yeah,
online.
that's like everyone suddenly has an opinion on how you should be spending your own money.
Yeah.
So stressful.
And beyond those like practical concerns, there's the social aspect too. In a lot of cultures, openly talking about wealth and especially like large amounts of wealth, it's kind of taboo, you know?
Right.
It can come across as bragging or insensitive.
Yeah, it's like that unspoken rule at a dinner party. Like, you don't just like announce how big your bonus was
Yeah.
while everyone else is trying to like split the bill,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Exactly. And YouTubers, they're constantly cultivating a connection with their audience. Maintaining that sense of relatability is really important. Bragging about, a six-figure income might not resonate with viewers who are like struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah, it's like that whole down-to-earth persona that a lot of YouTubers try to project.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to see a what I eat in a day video.
Yeah.
And it's all like caviar and champagne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. And going even beyond social norms, revealing a big income could actually hurt a YouTuber's brand. Think about it if their content relies on a sense of like authenticity or like shared struggles, flaunting wealth could totally clash with that.
Right. Totally. Imagine like a beauty guru giving you tips on drugstore makeup,
Mm.
but they're wearing like a $5,000 designer outfit. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it just highlights the complex relationship between a YouTuber's like personal life
Hmm.
and their online persona and the financial realities of their work. And let's not forget YouTubing itself when it comes to money.
Oh, yeah. It's not like a regular paycheck, right?
Right.
It's more like a financial roller coaster.
That's a perfect way to put it. YouTube income is so unpredictable. Ad revenue, which is a major source of income for a lot of creators, it fluctuates constantly.
From what I've read, it's like trying to predict the stock market, you know,
Mhm.
like algorithm changes or seasonal trends or even just what advertisers feel like doing. It can all impact a YouTuber's like income.
Absolutely. I read an article that mentioned a study where YouTubers saw their ad revenue drop by like 50% after a big algorithm update.
Well,
So that kind of instability, it makes it so hard to give a straight answer when someone asks like, how much do you make?
right. And then on top of that, you throw in all the other ways YouTubers make money: sponsorships, merch, fan memberships, affiliate links. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted business, and for a lot of YouTubers, figuring out the money side is as much a part of their job as making the content.
Okay, so speaking of like the business side of things, it gets even more complicated. When we start talking about like contracts and the legal
All
stuff,
right, you're getting into like the real behind the scenes stuff here. This is where it might start to feel like a secret society. NDAs or non-disclosure agreements, they are so common with brand deals and sponsorships, and those contracts legally prevent YouTubers from sharing the financial details of their partnerships.
okay, so maybe not a secret society, but definitely a lot of like behind the scenes agreements and like,
The hush money talk.
exactly, like imagine a brand approaches a YouTuber with a big sponsorship deal.
Mm.
But in exchange, they have to sign an NDA saying they can't talk about the payment. It happens in a lot of industries, not just YouTube.
Right. It makes sense from a business perspective, but it definitely adds to the mystery of like how much are they really making?
It does. And then it's not just NDAs. YouTubers have to think about taxes too. Revealing specific earnings could get the attention of the wrong people,
Taxes, nobody's favorite topic, but yeah, definitely important to consider.
especially when you're dealing with large amounts of money.
Right, for sure.
It's a good reminder that behind all the fun of YouTube, there's a whole world of financial responsibilities and legal stuff that creators have to deal with. Okay, so we've covered privacy, social norms, unpredictable income, legal obligations. What about the audience like? How does the potential for like backlash and negativity factor into a YouTuber's decision to reveal their earnings?
That's a really great point, and it's where things get really tricky. Sharing income details, especially large amounts, can trigger a lot of reactions,
Hmm.
from curiosity to jealousy and resentment. It can be tough to navigate publicly.
Yeah, and the internet is not exactly known for being a very like gentle and supportive place. I can only imagine what the comments would be like after a big income reveal.
Oh, yeah. That's a valid concern. YouTubers are already under a lot of scrutiny and judgment, but revealing their earnings would just amplify it.
Yeah, like everyone feels entitled to an opinion on how much you deserve to make how you should spend your money, whether you're selling out or not.
Exactly. And that kind of negativity can overshadow the work itself. Imagine pouring your heart into a video only to have the comments flooded with criticisms about your income instead of the actual content.
That would be so disheartening.
And it raises a question for you as a viewer, like, does knowing a YouTuber's income actually change how you see their content?
Ooh, that's a great question. Does it make their videos less enjoyable or less authentic? Does it affect how much you trust their recommendations or their message overall? It's a lot to think about
It is.
as we
Huh.
continue this deep dive.
Yeah, we've covered a lot, but there's still more to discuss. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll look at the creative ways YouTubers answer those money questions without actually revealing specific numbers, so stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into this whole world of YouTuber earnings.
Yeah, so before the break, we were talking about all the reasons why YouTubers might not want to share how much they make.
Right, from like privacy concerns to worrying about getting judged by internet trolls for every little thing they buy.
Totally. But let's be real, like, as viewers, it's natural to be a little curious.
Hmm.
So how do YouTubers actually handle those questions without, like, spilling all the beans about their finances?
Well, that's when they have to get creative. Some of them just go with like a classic vague answer, like, oh, I make enough to live comfortably, or it varies month to month.
Right, like the good old non-answer answer. It's like when a politician dodges a question.
Yeah,
But hey, at least it acknowledges that people are curious, right?
right,
Right.
exactly. It's a way to deflect without being like dismissive. Another thing they do is just change the subject entirely. Instead of talking about money, they talk about the value they bring with their content.
So instead of talking about how much money they make, they focus on like the impact they have on their viewers or the community they've built or the causes they support,
Exactly. Like, hey, my work matters for more reasons than just the paycheck.
which honestly is a way more interesting conversation to have anyway.
For sure. And then you have some who use humor to kind of deflect. They might joke about living this lavish lifestyle of ramen noodles and student loan debt, like playing into the whole starving artist stereotype, even if they're actually doing really well.
I love that a little self-deprecating humor can go a long way. It makes those conversations way less awkward and more relatable. Plus, who doesn't love a good ramen noodle joke?
Exactly. It's a way to acknowledge the question while also being like, yeah, not all YouTubers are like swimming in cash.
Right. Now, some YouTubers actually are more open about their earnings,
Mm.
but they're strategic about it. They
Yeah.
might share like a general range of how much they make, or they break down the different ways they make money, like ads, sponsorships, that kind of thing. But they don't give like the exact numbers.
Yeah, it's a good way to strike a balance between satisfying people's curiosity and protecting their own privacy. It gives people a little peek behind the curtain without revealing like all the secrets of their business.
It's like a sneak peek into the YouTube money-making machine without giving away the secret formula.
Right. And it can be really helpful for new creators who are trying to figure out the different ways to make money on YouTube.
It's like a free mini course on YouTube monetization.
And then there's some YouTubers who take that opportunity to actually educate their audience about like financial literacy.
Oh, interesting. So instead of just saying like, I make this much money, they might talk about like budgeting or saving or investing or even the business side of being a creator.
Exactly. They use their platform to share valuable knowledge and help their viewers make good financial decisions.
It's like turning a potentially awkward conversation into a learning experience.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the YouTubers who actually do share their exact earnings publicly. Like, why would they do that, knowing all the risks and downsides we talked about?
Yeah, it's definitely a bold move, and there are a few different reasons why they might do it. Some creators just believe in being completely transparent. They want to demystify the YouTube money-making machine and show people what's possible.
So it's like they're saying, hey, look, you can actually build a successful career on YouTube. It takes hard work, dedication, and a bit of luck, but it can be done.
Yeah, and for some, it's about empowering their audience with knowledge. They might break down their income reports and show how much they make from different sources, like ad sponsorships, merch sales, things like that, to show all the different ways you can make money on YouTube.
It's like they're giving a behind-the-scenes tour of their business.
Exactly. And then you have some creators who might use their earnings to try to get more brand deals. They highlight their income to show how successful they are, to show potential sponsors how much value they can bring.
It's like saying, hey, brands, look how much money my audience is helping me make. Imagine how much you could make if we worked together.
Exactly. It's a risky strategy, but it can be a good way to stand out and show your influence.
So at the end of the day, whether a YouTuber decides to be open about their earnings or keep it private, it's a personal decision and there's no right or wrong answer.
Totally. What matters is that they're comfortable with their choice and that they can maintain a good relationship with their audience and their finances.
Well said. So now I want to turn the question over to you, the listener. What are your thoughts on YouTuber earnings? Does knowing how much they make change how you view their content?
It's something to think about, and we'll be back after a short break to wrap up this discussion and share some final thoughts.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into this whole YouTuber earnings thing.
Yeah, so we've talked about why YouTubers are so secretive about how much they make, and all the creative ways they dodge those questions, and even those who just come right out and say it. So where does that leave us?
Well, I think the biggest thing we've learned is that there's no easy answer. There's no magic formula for YouTuber income. It's all over the place, really.
Yeah, it's as varied as the YouTubers themselves.
Right. Some are making like six figures from ads alone,
Yeah.
and others are hustling with sponsorships and merch and everything else just to get by. It's a crazy world.
It really is. And it makes you think about how work is changing in general, you
Yeah.
know? Like that traditional 9 to 5 job is becoming less and less common. More people are doing their own thing, becoming entrepreneurs online, and YouTube is a perfect example.
It's like we're watching a whole new career path unfold right in front of us.
Totally. And the rules are still being written.
Exactly. And as viewers, we're part of that. You know, we can choose to support the creators we like, engage with their content, and respect their choices about being open or private about their finances.
Right. Instead of getting hung up on the numbers, we should focus on what we're actually getting out of their videos.
Right. Like whether it's learning something new, being entertained, getting inspired, or just feeling connected. YouTube has so much more to offer than just money.
And as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with one last thought. Does knowing how much a YouTuber makes actually change how you see their videos? Does it affect whether you enjoy them or think they're authentic?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Hmm.
Maybe it makes us more critical, or maybe it makes us appreciate all the hard work they put in even more. It's something to think about as you keep watching YouTube.
Remember, there's always something new to discover, new perspectives to consider, and new rabbit holes to go down.
So until next time, happy watching.
Thanks for joining us.